Hello everyone, myself Nazia Hassan. I am an assistant professor at TMIMT Tirthankar Mahavir University, Moradabad. Now, moving on with the subject, today we will cover important aspects related to job costing and batch costing. First, we will discuss topics theoretically, that what is job costing. Then, moving on further, we will study the same thing with numerical aspects. So, let us start. Job costing. Job costing is an accounting method designed to help you track the cost of individual projects and jobs. It involves looking at direct and indirect costs, and it usually broken into three specific categories: labor, material, and overheads. Job costing is a method of costing used to determine the cost of non-standard jobs carried out according to customers' specification. In this method, cost units are separately identified and are costed individually. This method is known as job order costing, where a particular product or an amount of product or units of products are produced as per the order of the customer. It is also called specific order costing or production order costing. Job costing is applicable to job printers, engineers, furniture makers, builders, contractors, hardware and machine manufacturing industries, repairing shops, etc. Features of job costing. Production is based against a specific customer order. As you can see, it has been specified over here. Features of job costing. Production is made against customer specific orders. The production is generally made against customers specific order and not for stock. Whenever the order is received, then only the production is carried on, otherwise there is no production is carried on in case of job costing. Based on intermittent production, each job has its own characteristics and requires specific treatment. It is based on intermittent production and does not continue. Means as it is made, as job costing is done against specific orders, so therefore there is a halt in production process. The job production process is never a continuous process. Each job is a separate cost unit. Therefore, a separate job cost sheet is prepared for individual's job. Each job is a separate cost unit and there is a requirement for preparing a specific job cost sheet against a specific order. Job is identified by a production order. Each job is distinctly identified by a production order through the production stage. Cost ascertained after completion of job. The final cost of production is ascertained after the completion of job. The final cost of production, whenever a company wants to identify what is the final cost of production of a particular units, then it is only can be identified after the job is completed. Next is advantages of job costing. What are the possible advantages? Detailed analysis of cost. Job costing provides a detailed analysis of cost of materials, labor, and various overheads classified on the basis of departments, functions, and nature of expenses. It enables the management to assess the operating efficiency of various factors of production and production centers. Next is cost control. Job costing facilitates cost control by comparing actual cost with estimated or standard cost. Advantages of budgetary control. The adoption of predetermined, in case of job costing, the adoption of predetermined overhead rates in the job costing necessitates the application of a system of a budgetary control of overheads with all its advantages. Helps in production planning, comparison of profitability, sorry. Job costing helps the management to compare the profit to ascertain and to make comparison of profitability of various jobs so as less profitable or less loss incurring jobs can be avoided. Company can analyze by preparing a job cost sheet that which job or order is giving them profits and which order is giving them losses. Therefore, loss incurring jobs or process can be avoided. Next is helpful in production planning. Job costing provides a basis for estimating the cost of similar jobs or to be undertaking in future, and thus it helps in production planning. Useful in cost plus. Job costing is very useful in giving quotations for cost plus and such other contracts where selling price is determined directly on the basis of cost. Identification of spoilage and defectives. Spoilage or defective works can be easily identified in case of job costing with specific jobs or product orders. On this basis, responsibility can be fixed on specific employees, individuals, or departments. So, here are certain advantages of job costing. Let me brief up you up. There could be detailed analysis of cost, cost control, advantages of budgetary control, comparison of profitability, helpful in production planning, useful in cost plus, identification of spoilage and defectives. Now, if the certain thing has advantages, then there can be limitations also, more expensive and more clerical work. In case of job costing, lot of clerical work is involved as each job has its own job cost sheet. So there is lots of clerical work is involved. Job costing is comparatively more expensive as more clerical work is involved in recording daily cost of materials issued, wages expended, and overheads chargeable to each job or work order. It is historical in nature, means job costing is historical in nature because it ascertains the cost of a product which has already been incurred or completed. It has no futuristic approach. Thus, it does not facilitate the control of cost unless it is applied with a standard or estimated cost. Next is difficulty in comparison of cost. If major changes in price takes place, it becomes difficult or meaningless to compare the cost of a job for one period with that of the another. Now, next is batch costing. The fact of stating the price of a product as based on cost of producing a batch of the product rather than on the cost of production a single item is known as batch. Batch costing is typically used when there are mass productions involved. For example, pharmaceutical company. All the medicines are produced in batches. It can be a part of your batch costing. Batch costing is an extension of job costing and it therefore may be called as factory job costing. This method of costing is applied when production work is carried on in lots or batches and the cost of each lot or batch is calculated separately. A batch in fact is a cost unit consisting of group of similar or identical items which maintain their identity throughout various stages of production. In other words, batch is not related with a single product, but it is related with some specific quantity of similar product at the same time. Each batch is given a specific number or code and the costs are accumulated on that basis. Each batch is treated as a unit of cost and is separately costed. The cost per unit is obtained by dividing the cost of batch by the number of units produced in a batch. This is a very important aspect which must be noted that cost per unit is obtained by dividing the cost of batch divided by the number of units produced in that batch. This method of costing is mainly applied in production of drugs and medicines, ready-made garments, shoes and chappals, nuts and bolts, spare parts, TV watches, etc. It should be understood here that the job costing refers to the costing of jobs that are executed against specific orders. Whereas in batch costing, items are manufactured for stock and sale or used wherever required. In a batch costing, the cost sheet is prepared as usual and the basic principles of charging material, labor and overheads are the same as single or output costing. Now, basic point to be noted over here is what could be the possible difference between job costing and batch costing. Job costing refers to a specific costing method used when the production work is carried out according to the requirements of a customer. As we have already discussed, job costing is basically carried out whenever there is a specific order, otherwise, no production is carried out for stocking a product. Batch costing is a form of job costing that is applied when the articles are produced in batches, that is, group of like units are produced. Then production, as per customer specification, and batch costing, it is a mass production. Product have an independent identity as each job is distinct from other jobs. Next, products do not lose their individual identity as they are manufactured in continuum. Next, cost unit executed jobs, and in cost unit it's a batch. Cost ascertainment on the basis of completion of each job, and its cost is ascertained for the whole batch and the per unit cost is determined. So these are the basic differences between job and batch costing. Now moving on to the numerical aspects. Let us discuss or try to solve the numerical question based on job costing. So it's a question right in front of you. The following information, the following information is given. You can see the question right in front of you, which is given. The following three jobs were completed in the week ending on 7th October 2022. Compute the total cost by preparing a statement of cost with the information given below. Direct materials, direct labor, direct expenses. Job number 1, job number 2 and job number 3. Charge work overheads at 50% on direct labor and overhead at 10% on work cost. What shall be the job price if 10% profit is desired on supply price? Now we will solve this question. First of all, we need to prepare a statement of cost. Statement of cost. Statement of cost, you can do it in bold so that it has more clarity. And we will write for the week ending 7/10/2022. For the week ending 7/10/2022. We will prepare a format. First we will write particulars. Then we will write job number 1. Next is job number 2. And next is job number 3. Now we will write direct materials. Question is very simple. Everything is given. Only thing which we have to make the change is regarding the format in which each expense is is shown under each specified job, like in this case job number 1, job number 2 and job number 3. So we will write like this. Direct material, in job number 1 we have 2000, job number 2 we have 2400, job number, sorry, you have to write under job number 2. And job number 3, we have 6400. Next is direct labor. Direct labor, we have 1600, we have 1800. Next is we have 2400. Next is direct expenses. Direct expenses are 400, then we have 600, then we have again 600 in job number 3. When we will add these three, we will get prime cost. As per cost sheet, we have already discussed how to record the cost. We have for first we have 4000, job number 1. For job number 2, the total is 4800. For job number 3, the total is 9400. Next is work overhead. Work overhead, we have been specified in the question, it is 50% on direct labor. So it's a very simple calculation. 50% on direct labor. There is certain spelling mistake. On direct labor. So we will calculate 50% of direct labor. 1600, 50% of direct labor will be 800. For 1800, 50% will be 900. And for 2400, 50% will be 1200. After adding work overhead in prime cost, we will get work cost. Work cost is 10% on work cost. Sorry, after work cost, we will after deriving 50% on direct labor head, which are work overheads, we will add prime cost and factory cost, and finally we will get work cost, which will be 5700. Next is 10,600. Now, after work cost addition, we will get office overheads. Office overheads are given as 10% on work cost. 10% on work cost. 10% on work cost, which will give 480. 10% of 4800, 570. 10% of 4800, 1060. 10% of overheads. Now, after overheads, we will get the total cost. Total cost is 4800 plus 480, it will give you 5280. Next is 557 6270. Next is 10,600 plus 1060 will give you 11,660. In the question, it has been given that what shall be the job price if 10% profit is desired on supply price. So, if 10% supply price is equal to 1 by 9 of our total cost, profit 10% on supply price, or you can say 1 by 9 of 1 by 9 on total cost, which will give you the figure of 587 in case of job number 1 and 697 in case of job number 2 and 1296 in case of job number 3. After adding, you will get 5867 for job price for job number 1 and 6967 for job number 2 and 12956 for job number 3. So this was all about preparing a job cost sheet. How will you prepare? Let me brief you up if any of your concept is left for understanding. First is the question is giving in which the expenses are specifically mentioned against each job. We have three kinds of job: job number 1, job number 2 and job number 3. Particulars, we will do direct material, direct labor and direct expenses for each job. Job number 1, 2 and 3. We will get the prime cost, and for 4000 for job number 1, 4800 for job number 2, 9400 for job number 3. After that, we will get we will add work overhead which have been specified in the question that we have to charge them as 50% on direct labor. So 50% on work overhead will give you 800, 900 and 1200. Then we will get work cost 4800, 5700, 10,600. After adding work cost, after getting work cost, it has been specified in the question that we have to take 10% of work cost and treat them as office overheads. So we will take 10% of work cost, 10% of 4800, 10% of 5700, 10% of 10,600, 480, 570, 1060. It will give you total cost. Now, after total cost is derived, it has been given profit 10% on supply price of 1 by 9. It can be a 1 by 9, it can be a total cost. So on total cost, we will calculate 1 by 9 of 5280, 1 by 9 of 6270 and 11660 of 1 by 9 of 11660. We will get 587 in job number 1, job number 2 697 and job number 3 1296. After adding both these things, that is total cost and profit margin, we will get job price 5867 in case of job number 1, 6967 in case of job number 2 and 12956 in job number 3. So this was all about different kinds of job and preparing the job costing statements. As I have told you in the starting of lecture that we will be discussing both numerical and practical aspects related to job and batch costing. So in this particular session, we are done with the numerical aspect of job costing. Now let us focus on the numerical aspect of batch costing. It has been given in the question. The details of expenses incurred on batch 313 are as follows. Direct material 20,000, labor for department A 600 labor hours at the rate of rupees 10 per hour, department B 1400 labor hours at the rate of rupees 15 per hour. Factory overheads are charged on the basis of labor hours and the rates are rupees 12 per hour for department A and rupees 5 per hour for department B. The firm uses a cost plus method for determining the selling price and expects a gross profit of 25%, that is sales value minus factory cost. Administrative overheads are absorbed at 10% of selling price. Assuming that 500 units were produced in batch 313, calculate the selling price. So first of all, we need to be very careful with the uh, format, and we are preparing a cost sheet for batch number 313. So we will write particulars over here. Particulars, I think there is certain spelling mistake, and here we have amount in rupees, and here also in this column we will write amount in rupees. So let us mention the rupees over here so that there is no confusion. Here also we will mention the rupees. First is direct materials. Direct materials, we all know it's 20,000. Then labor. Labor has been mentioned department wise. For department A, it is 600 into 10, which will give 6,000. Next is department B, 1400 into 15, which is rupees 2100. So the total labor cost is 27,000. Understood? So this is prime cost. As usual, whenever we are preparing any cost sheet, we need to be any cost statement, we have to calculate prime cost, factory cost, selling cost and all. So prime cost is 20,000 plus 27,000, 47,000. Next is factory overheads. Factory overheads. Factory overheads, again, it has been mentioned in the question, are charged on the basis of labor hours and the rates are 12 rupees 12 per hour. So we will take 600 and 1400 from labor department, labor hours, and charge them at rupees 12 per hour for department A and rupees 5 per hour for department B. So let's do this calculation. Department A, it is 600 into 12. So we will multiply it, which will be 7200 after calculation. Next is department B, which is 1400 into 5, which will give you 7000. So after adding factory overheads in prime costs, we all are aware after preparing the cost sheet, we usually get factory cost. Factory cost is 14,200. 14,200. 14,200 is your factory cost. After factory cost, we will add administration overheads. Administration overheads, we all know it's 10% on selling price. 10% on selling price. Now, what we will do, we are not aware of what is selling price right now. So what we will do, we have been given a gross profit. Gross profit is 25%. Now this gross profit is 25%, and it is given that gross profit usually is sales minus factory cost. So basically this work cost or is called the gross profit, and sales minus factory cost. So sales minus factory cost. Now it simply means if sales value is rupees 100, factory cost should be rupees 75. Factory cost should be rupees 75. On this basis, that is 100 minus 75 will give you 25. So if selling price is 100, then factory cost should be 75. So on this basis, you can say sales value on this basis, selling price is calculated as follows, which will give you 61,200. Your factory cost is coming 61,200. Let me insert one column over here so that we can write the factory cost. It is control C. Okay, let us control X will be 14,200. Then we have control C, 61,200. It is like this, which is calculated as follows. So it will be sales value on the basis of factory cost will be 61,200 into 100 divided by 75. It will give you the value of 81,600. So this is cost of production. So when we take 10% on selling price, we will get the 8160 8160 as your administration overheads. And after adding administration overheads in factory cost, we all know we get the cost of production. After adding factory cost plus 8160, we will get 69,360. 360. Now profit is 15% on selling price. We all know 15% on selling price. We will get 12,240. 12,240. So sales will be cost of production plus 12,240, we will get 81,600. So this is how we do the costing in case of batch costing. What we have done in this question, you can say we have prepared a cost sheet for batch 313, particulars, amount in rupees, and then amount in rupees. First, we have mentioned direct material. Labor is mentioned department wise. For department A, 600 into 10, that is 600 rupees at the rate of rupees 10. 1400 rupees at the rate of rupees 15. We will get 27,000 and the prime cost will be 47,000. Then we will get the factory overheads for department A, 600 into 12, 7,200. Department B, 1400 into 5, 7,000. Of this total, we will get 14,200. Factory cost will be 61,200. Administration overheads, that is 10% on selling price. But in this particular question, administration overheads are not given. But we have been given this information that gross profit is 25%. Basically, gross profit is like, if you see from the cost sheet point of view, gross profit is sales minus factory cost. So if sales is 100, then factory cost will be 75 because gross profit is 25. So we on this basis sales price is calculated 6100 into 100 divided by 75. You will get 81,600 as sales. So profit will be 81,600 minus 69,360 and it will be your profit 12,240. So in this particular session, we learned that how to prepare cost sheet when it comes to job costing and batch costing. Cost sheet can be prepared with the when it is given a question of job costing, we can specify the job number 1, 2, 3 and so on when we are preparing cost sheet in case of job costing. Similarly, in case of batch costing, we will prepare batch cost sheet where is specified on the total amount of information given to us. So I hope you have all understood. We solved we and in this session we covered not only numerical aspect but also the theoretical aspects related to job cost sheet and batch costing. Thank you so much.